Hey, and welcome back to yet another video, and today we're going to be drawing pixel art without having to expand our canvas from 100 pixels to 1000 pixels, and we're going to be doing this on iBisPaint. So we're going to be using iBisPaint today because I recently discovered that there are default brushes that are on iBisPaint that can be used to create pixel art brushes without having to expand your canvas from 100 pixels to 1000 pixels, and after saving you don't have to blur it. Now the main brush that we're going to be using for this video is called Dot Brush. It's a default brush on iBisPaint, but in case you can't find it, you can scan the barcode or the QR code that recently just passed here, and this is the brush we're going to be using throughout this video. We're going to use it for just the line art because you can sketch normally with any sketch brush you feel comfortable with, but we're going to use it for the line art, the coloring, and the rendering. So this is a previous pixel art painting I made on iBisPaint when I decided to test it out, and this pretty much inspired me to make a video for y'all on how I went with the process. So I took one of my comfortable sketch brushes. I think I downloaded the brush on iBisPaint's website. Probably it was a custom brush, but you can use their default brushes to sketch out exactly what you want. Now, the reference photo that I used for this drawing, I found a very pretty lady on Threads, right? Is it called Threads? Yes, it's called Threads. And I decided to use it because, well, her photo was really pretty and it inspired me to do so. I was like, why not just create a pixel art drawing and post? Because I know it's really been a very long time since I actually made a video. Let's say like more like a year, but honestly, there's been so much going on as usual for me. So when I started the drawing, I at first wanted to do my normal chibi style for the pixel art drawing of today, but this isn't really a full-bodied reference. I thought I could turn it into a full-body reference, but I started drawing this like around 12 a.m. midnight, and I think I just got tired along the way. So I'm using a normal sketching brush to pretty much sketch out what I'm going to use to create the painting. And you probably are wondering what made me start doing pixel art. I think I started doing pixel art around last year. It's a style of drawing I've actually been really interested in for like a really long time, and I know that there are software specifically for drawing pixel art like iBisPaint and I think Pixsquare on the iPad, while some people normally use either the normal softwares like Clip Studio Paint and Procreate, which would require some resizing because you have to draw it on a smaller canvas size of 100 pixels or around that dimension to be able to get the pixel effect of the drawing. Now, I was using Procreate last year, and that's pretty much what I was comfortable with at the time. I watched a video by Ita Monero. He also provided Procreate brushes that you could use to draw pixel art. So he has pixel art brushes. You can also check out his channel to get the pixel art brushes if you use Procreate, if you feel comfortable using Procreate. But I also discovered yet another video that taught me how to draw pixel art without having to resize my canvas, and it was done on iBisPaint. And it turns out iBisPaint actually has pixel art brushes, or let's say brushes that are stylized to be able to create pixel art. And when I discovered this, I was like, oh, this is actually amazing. So I don't have to go through this whole resizing process, and I also don't have to, stress myself to get other softwares. I actually did get iBisPaint on my laptop, but it has this how would I say it? I say the UI or the UX, maybe like the UI kind of felt very basic. Not like it's basic, but it was structured to look like pixel art, and it was so hard to find so many things for me. And I think I still had to tweak some settings in order to save it without it blurring, and I think that was just like so much stress for me. So when I found this tutorial, I was really happy that I could actually just go straight to the very first software, I say software or app, that I've been using to draw from the beginning. And I'm pretty much gonna say this, I've been one of many who's advocating for iBisPaint because it's actually a lifesaver. It's a wonderful beginner's app to draw. I started with iBisPaint before moving on to Procreate or Clip Studio and the rest, and to see that, you know, they actually had this brush that I would have been able to learn pixel art from the very beginning makes it really more exciting. So this is my second pixel art drawing that I've made on iBisPaint. The first one, you've seen it previously in the beginning of the video, and honestly it's really simple and basic to do. Coloring, I used this dot brush throughout the entire process, and it wasn't so difficult. It was just like drawing and doing line arts from the beginning, and I didn't have to add any grids as I normally do on Procreate. It was just straightforward to the point, and I didn't really stress so much on it. I think I actually can say I fell in love with the pixel art style because of how nostalgic it felt from previous old video games that we normally play on our computers, where there was this dot I like to call it the dot style, because it was just like in bits and bits and bits, and it was so cute. I think it was Super Mario that used the pixel art. That should have been like the first game that I discovered pixel art style, and since then I pretty much just picked up interest because I was always wondering, how are people able to like draw things so minimized, so minimal, yet, you know, apply so much color and give it life. And I got interested in it, basically. And there's so many, aside from just games, there were artists who were actually creating masterpieces with pixel art. So it just pretty much like riled me up, and I was like, oh, I have to learn this style, because if I don't, I'm not gonna be able to itch that or scratch that itch in my brain to do so. So I went all out and watched tons of videos and checked out brushes, and that's pretty much what sparked my interest in making pixel art. And it's so nice to see that iBisPaint has the features for me easily to do so. And what's interesting about this brush is that you can increase the size to whatever sizes of pixel art styles you could do. You can make the brush really tiny. There are various styles, really. So yeah. So now that's out of the way, back to the elephant in the room. Prolonged video. I think it's pretty much safe to say that I post a YouTube video on this channel yearly, because I don't think I've posted a video since last year. I can't even remember the date, but it was probably in between middle. Did I even post a video last year? But I have been uploading shorts on my channel, and this year I said, you know what, I'm going to have to, you know, reignite the spark. Honestly, making videos on YouTube can be like super hectic. First off, you know, recording for hours, how long it draw, and you know, with my recent 9 to 5 has been taking up my entire life and space, and to be honest, it's not really as exciting as it was in the beginning, and it's been drying me up. I barely have time to even draw personally for myself. So onto the rendering stage of the drawing. I think this is pretty much the fun part of pixel art for me. Now, while trying to rediscover my love for art because of the huge creative block that I suffered most of the time last year, I created a lot of pieces that I wasn't really happy with. And I can pretty much safe to say that pixel art was something that I discovered doing last year that kind of kept me going to an extent because of how hectic and stressful my 9 to 5 was. So I've dedicated this year to rediscovering my love for art, and I've been binge watching tons of videos from my favorite artists learning different forms of techniques, different forms of art styles. I'm not saying I'm switching to pixel art completely. It's just a style that I consider fun to do and interesting. And I get to apply also these coloring techniques to this style. I've been falling in love with cell shading lately. I've been experimenting with vector. I think I'm just going to be exploring these different styles of art. And along the way, while doing so, in my free time, I will be making more videos. I keep promising this all the time, every year. But this time around, I'm really going to be making a lot of videos because I really want to just reignite my love for art and keep my head in a creative space, because there's been so much negativity in my mind lately, and that's pretty much one of the many reasons why I was suffering a huge creative block. So yeah, I have to thank pixel art for that, because it gave me the expansion and the freedom to be creating more fun works and creating more chibi styled works. I think it was pretty much why I was struggling so much, because I was feeling a bit restricted with what I was doing, and there's just so much going on in the creative space right now, especially with the growth of AI and the switching of platforms, social media not really being as interesting as it was. There's been a lot of jumping back and forth. Even in my Instagram page, I hadn't posted for a while. I was posting more on Threads because of the response. So I really do want to devote most of my time to YouTube now. I don't really know how it, or if I have like a certain approach that's going to make it more professional. I feel like working with something that is more of me. I don't know if there will be times I would have to show my face on here, but for the meantime, I want to just enjoy what I have now with art. No pressure, no stress, no issues per se. I pretty much just don't want to have to create a piece of work and eventually look at it and hate it afterwards, because that happened a lot last year. So yeah, I guess this is just the beginning of how I would love to rediscover my love for art. So I think we're about to approach the final parts of rendering this piece, and coloring the hair is the most fun part for me in this video. Following streaks is something I think at this point later on, I ended up discovering that there were some dithering brushes, but I didn't know that I could use those as dithering brushes. Like I said, number one advocator for iBisPaint when it comes to being a beginner digital artist. I really don't know why a lot of people say that they don't like this application. Probably because the UI is annoying to them or it pisses them off. I think it's pretty basic and easy, and if you're someone who finds a very difficult software like Photoshop or Clip Studio Paint to have so much that you could get overwhelmed because of so many things, iBisPaint is pretty much a good start. So yeah, I think it's a good way to really begin your journey as a digital artist when it comes to drawing any forms of styles. But like I said, you don't have to use Procreate to be able to create pixel art, and you don't have to resize or go through that entire stress. There are other softwares which I also plan to use eventually along the time, but though on iPad they're mostly paid for, and I don't really have the access to pay for some of the apps because of my country's carding. That's a completely different story, but our cards aren't really allowing us to pay for things on the App Store. So before I could figure that out, we have to work our way around what we've got. Coloring the eyes is also another part of drawing that I enjoy doing when it comes to pixel art, but I do have to say, this is a mini confession, I'm not really satisfied with my current eye style or eye drawing style. I seen so much works, and I think it's because of overload, information overload, and seeing a lot of beautiful art styles. You could get overwhelmed with how much you see on the web. So I can say I'm not really satisfied with it. So it's pretty much in between. My style is going to be switching often and a lot more lately. Mentioned earlier, there are other brushes that you can use for, I think, a technique in pixel art drawing called dithering, and the brushes are named the grid dot, the edge dot, and the brown dot. I used mostly the grid dot and the brown dot, which gave off the dithering effect. There are all default brushes on iBisPaint. You'd have to scroll all the way down, and as a requirement for iBisPaint, you have to watch a video to be able to access all the brushes. So this part of the video, I decided to color in the shade or the glass in the glasses. I wanted it to be I needed to decide whether it was going to be both sunglasses or normal glasses. In the reference video, it was normal glasses. I decided to stick to it because it felt better or looked better. And anyways, I don't want to say this is my best work. I did kind of wake up around 2 a.m. or this is 3 a.m. I woke up around 12 a.m. to start making this video. And today was a really hectic day for me, honestly. I just wanted to show you guys that it's really possible for you to create pixel art on iBisPaint without having to resize your canvas. I think the size I'm using for this canvas is 2160 by 2160. I always duplicate the sizes for better quality. So that's pretty much what inspired this video from the very beginning. I didn't really have the intention of my work being so good. I wasn't really satisfied with how it looked, but it is kind of appealing, I guess, to say for the start. I do aspire to make much more better works with this pixel art style, not only just characters but backgrounds and concept as well. I've been exploring different forms of art styles lately and trying to branch out into other fields of the creative space. So I think I'd still preferred my pixel art version of King Maddie's reference to this one. Like I said, this was just like a quick piece that I made. I didn't really put so much effort in it. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So thank you so much for taking out your time. This is pretty much the speed paint. I don't really have to say too much, but this is just a quick video to show you that it is possible to make pixel art without having to resize or go through the stress of making sure stuff works. So thank you so much, and thanks for tuning in. I almost forgot to tell you to like, subscribe, share, and comment what you'd like to see on the video next. If you do want to see a video of how I do pixel art on other softwares like Procreate, Clip Studio, or maybe even pixel art specific pixel art apps like iBisPaint or Pixsquare. I don't know if there's any other one, but if you do like to see videos of me drawing on these softwares, do comment as well. So thank you so much for sticking around, and see you next time. Bye.